Hello everyone, it's Nina and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to talk about an assortment of books that are going to be coming out in 2024 that I have on my radar to check out. I think I have around 20 books on this list, and most of them are coming out in the first 3 or 4 months of the year. But I also have some that are coming out a little bit later, as well as some that don't even have release dates or covers or even names to them. But we do know about them, and I thought I'd throw them in at the end because I am interested in them. Also, I'm very bad at giving synopses for books I haven't read yet, so I would definitely look up all of the books that you're interested in after the fact to get like a better view on what the books are actually about. I'll probably put a list of all the books I mentioned in this video in the description for you to copy and paste to find them a little bit easier. I'm also probably going to mention if any of these books I think are going to be showing up in book boxes in 2024. So if you're someone that really doesn't like book box spoilers, then this might be the video for you to skip. But otherwise, let's get right on into it. So we're going to go through all the ones that have release dates first, and also talk about them in the order that they are coming out. So we're going to start off with the books coming out in January, and the first one on that list is Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands by Heather Fawcett. This one is coming out on January 11th. This is the second in the series, the previous book in the series being Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and this has been confirmed by the author to be a trilogy. Talking briefly about what Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies was about, it is exactly what the title says. It's about our main character, Emily Wilde, who is a professor of fairies who, in the previous book, was working on an encyclopedia of fairies and was kind of joined unwillingly by her academic rival / love interest, Wendell Bambleby. In this book, she has found a map of the different fairy lands, which Bambleby had mentioned in the previous book he also was looking for. I don't want to talk too much more about like spoilers from the previous book, but I'm assuming they're going to go on a journey together through these different fairy lands. The first book was so cute, and I really enjoyed all of Heather Fawcett's world building and character work that she did with the different fairy characters, and I'm excited to see what she expands on for the second book in the series. The next book I have on this list is Most Ardently by Gabe Cole Novoa. This comes out on January 16th. This is part of the Remixed Classics series, and it is a queer Pride and Prejudice retelling. This is also confirmed to be the January pick for the Dazzling Bookish box, which I am a subscriber of, so I'm definitely going to check it out then. I've actually never read Pride and Prejudice or seen any of the adaptations, which I know seems like completely unheard of, especially for a young millennial woman, but easily the way to get me to care about something is to make it queer, so I probably will end up reading this adaptation. The next book coming out in January is Voyage of the Damned by Frances White. This comes out on January 18th, and this is a fantasy murder mystery set on a boat. This is also basically confirmed to be the Illumicrate book pick for January, and I do think I will be getting it. And speaking of Illumicrate picks, the next book is To Caged God by Elizabeth May. This is most likely going to be the Illumicrate pick for February, and I also think I will be getting it. I think this is an adult or new adult fantasy that focuses on two sisters with powers of gods. I don't know why I'm particularly drawn to this one. I just think I really like the cover design and the title. I don't know, it just really is drawing me in for some reason. Moving on to the last book coming out in January, that is The Invocations by Krystal Sutherland. This comes out on January 30th. I am so excited about this. I actually have an e-arc for it, so I'm definitely going to be reading it before the release date, and hopefully we'll have a review posted here before then as well. This book was originally, I think, going to come out in fall of 2023, so I had originally anticipated reading it sometime this year. As I've talked about on my channel before, House of Hollow is my favorite YA horror book, and I've honestly been waiting for another YA horror book to really match the same intensity and love that I feel for House of Hollow. And I think at this point, if I'm going to get another YA horror book that I love, it's going to be another one from Krystal Sutherland. So I'm super excited to check out this next book from her. I've also heard this is probably going to be the Illumicrate Evernight pick, which I don't have a subscription for. I actually don't even know if it's available for people outside of the UK, but I'll be very interested in seeing what the special edition that they do looks like for this book. The next book on this list is The Absinthe Underground by Jeannie Pacton. This one is coming out on February 6th, and this is going to be the February pick for the Dazzling Bookish shop, so I also will be getting it. This one is described on Goodreads as Moulin Rouge meets Holly Black in a thrilling sapphic friends to lovers romantasy. I love a good historical fantasy romance. I didn't realize this was YA when I initially looked it up, but I do think I'll still be interested in it. I think that the magical elements seem really interesting, and I also do just generally prefer friends to lovers over enemies to lovers, and I actually haven't read, I think, a sapphic friends to lovers in a long time, and I do feel like pickings for sapphic friends to lovers is quite slim. So I am interested in checking it out for those other reasons as well. The next book is one I'm so excited for, and that is Infinity Alchemist by Kacen Callender. This one is also coming out on February 6th, and this is a YA queer, trans, and poly dark academia fantasy romance, which is honestly a perfect combination of everything that I love. I also have an e-arc for this book, so I'm definitely going to be reading it before the release date. I previously had read Felix Ever After by Kacen Callender, which I think is probably their most popular book. That is a queer trans YA contemporary, so I've not seen what they write in a more fantastical setting, but I think the premise of this book seems really interesting. And again, it has a lot of aspects in books I really like, so I have high hopes that I will enjoy this one. The next book on this list, I was going to say on the opposite end of the spectrum, but maybe not really. We have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This is also coming out on February 6th. And this is a vampire, werewolf, enemies to lovers, arranged marriage fantasy romance. To be honest, this looks kind of dumb, or maybe just kind of fan servicey and gratuitous. But I'm pretty interested in how Ali Hazelwood handles a fantasy romance. And really, how wrong can you go with vampires and werewolves? The next book on this list is the first of 2 that are coming out from this author that I am very interested in reading. And that is An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson. This is coming out on February 13th. This is a companion novel to A Dowry of Blood that is also a Carmilla retelling that is lesbian, toxic rivals to lovers with a private school dark academia setting. Again, a bunch of words that I really like. I wasn't a huge fan of the original story of Carmilla when I read it, but I am always interested in what people do with that story. I still have yet to read an S.T. Gibson book, but a lot of people say that she's a really amazing writer, and I definitely want to check out any of the books that she comes out with. The next book on this list is A Tempest of Tea by Hafsah Faizal. This one is coming out on February 20th. And this is a heist with vampires, very much has Six of Crows vibes. And I basically put this on this list because I was obsessed with this cover. I actually found this not through looking on Goodreads, but by finding this cover in Pinterest. And at the time I had not realized this book had not yet been released, but I'm definitely excited to see what it's like when it comes out. I believe Hafsah Faizal wrote a very popular YA duology a couple years ago called We Hunt the Flame, which I have not read, but I have heard a lot of good things from. That one didn't really pique my interest just based on subject matter, but this one definitely seems to be a lot more up my alley. Okay, somehow I have no books that are coming out in March on my list, so we're going to jump into the books coming out in April instead. And the first one, you should already know what it is because I talk about it nonstop. That book is, of course, Court of Wanderers by Chupeco. This is coming out on April 2nd. This is the sequel to Silver Under Nightfall, which is one of my favorite books of all time. I got an e-arc of this book and already read it and really enjoyed it, but I will be ready to re-enjoy this book for a second time when it officially comes out. Also, the UK cover for this book got announced. I really enjoy it. It's not what I anticipated. I thought that they would do Zidane's weapons or have the sun incorporated on the second book, but instead they just did another version of Remy's weapon, Breaker, which is also on the cover for Silver Under Nightfall. But I do really like these UK covers, and I definitely think I'm going to get a hardback set of these ones, because I want to buy Court of Wanderers upon release, but I think I want to get a paperback set of the US covers, and then get a hardback set of the UK covers. Okay, the next book coming out in April is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. This book is coming out on April 9th, and it is a historical fantasy standalone set during the Spanish Golden Age. I really love the font and cover design of this book. It's so beautiful. I kind of have a hit or miss relationship with Leigh Bardugo. I really dislike Ninth House. I ended up DNFing that book because I just could not connect with the main character at all. And I definitely was a bit underwhelmed when I read the first part of Six of Crows and then enjoyed Crooked Kingdom a lot more. But I feel like the topic, setting, and just overall vibes that this book is giving off is really interesting to me. And I think now that I've had previous experience reading from Leigh Bardugo, I'll be able to temper my expectations a little bit and kind of just go in with an open mind. I think also the fact that this is just a standalone and not a part of a longer series also makes me like it a little bit more. So yeah, I'm interested in checking on this book once it comes out. The next book I have is one that's coming out in May, and that is The Honey Wish by Sydney J. Shields. This one is coming out on May 14th. And this book is giving major lesbian Howl's Moving Castle vibes. It's about a witch on a small island town that is cursed to never be able to fall in love, and then a young woman that comes to the town who doesn't believe in magic, who slowly starts bonding with her and helping her break her curse. It overall sounds so cute, and I am in the mood to read more lesbian cozy fantasies, so I think this one will be a good pick for me to check out in 2024. Okay, next on this list we have the other S.T. Gibson book that is coming out in 2024, and that is Evocation, which is coming out on May 28th. This I think is the start of a duology or maybe a longer series. This is a queer, polyamorous, dark academia fantasy romance that involves mediums, a deal with the devil, and other occult magical situations. Overall, the entire vibes of this book I'm really here for. I also love the cover design. I think it's so cool. This book really feels like it's going to have special editions. It just has that vibe to it. I honestly might end up pre-ordering this book because I feel like it has just the right combination of things that I really like, that I would be willing to take a chance on it and just buy the actual physical copy instead of waiting for myself to get a library version. So I'll be excited to check this one out as soon as it releases. Okay, the last book I have that actually has a release date is Wisteria by Adalyn Grace. This one is coming out on August 20th, and this is the last part of the Belladonna trilogy. Belladonna was a 5-star book for me. I really enjoyed it. Foxglove, not so much. I gave it a 3.5. Although I think now that I have kind of tampered my expectations, I'll be able to go into Wisteria with a little bit more of an open mind. I also really like the cover design of this. I have not been a big fan of the other 2 US covers, but I really like this illustration of Blythe on the cover. And I definitely will be getting the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition to match the other 2 books that I have. Now let's go ahead and talk about some books that do not have any release dates. The first one is kind of wishful thinking, and that is Alecto the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This is going to be the last book in the Locked Tomb series. We do not know currently when this is going to be coming out, if it's even going to be coming out in 2024 at all. I think in either June or July of 2023, Tamsin Muir said in an interview that the book is done, it's just currently being edited. So I'm assuming if it does come out, it will be in the later half of 2024 if it comes out this year at all. I absolutely love the first 2 books in this series, and I really want to wait to not read the 3rd book until the 4th book has a release date, so I can fully mentally prepare myself by reading the 3rd book and then immediately jumping into the 4th one. So I'm really hoping that the 4th one does end up coming out in 2024. Another 4th book in the series that is coming out is the 4th and final book in the Hollow Star Saga by Ashley Shuttleworth. I think that we have an acronym title for this book, but again, we don't know what it's actually titled or when it's going to be coming out. But I think considering all of the other ones have been a year apart, always in the fall time, it probably will end up coming out in fall of 2024. This is a fae-based YA fantasy series with an entirely queer main cast. I really enjoyed the first 2 books in the series. I gave the first one 4 stars and the second one 4.5 stars. And the 3rd one recently came out and I got it in the mail a couple days ago. So I'm excited to read the 3rd one sometime earlier in 2024 in preparation for the last one coming out at the end of the year. And the last book I wanted to talk about for this video is whatever book Stephanie Garber is going to come out with in 2024. As of this recording, it has not yet been announced what the book is or what the title is, but we do know because there was a timer that she posted on her story that is counting down to the announcement of what that book is going to be. And we do have a ways away until that announcement actually comes out, but it has been confirmed that it will be coming out in 2024. A lot of people are speculating it's going to be another fantasy romance trilogy that focuses on some of the side characters we saw in Once Upon a Broken Heart. There's kind of 2 major camps on what the main couple will be for these books. I'm going to now kind of give light spoilers and say what I think the 2 main couples that we're kind of going between are. So if you don't want to see that, I would skip forward like 30 seconds. The first one is going to be Lala and Chaos/Castor, or the other possible couple is Apollo and Aurora. If it's Lala and Chaos, I'm definitely more interested in it. I really like what we saw of Lala in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, so I would be fine with having her as a main female character. But if it's going to be Apollo and Aurora, I'm definitely not going to be reading the next trilogy. I just have no interest in either of those characters. I felt like Aurora was really annoying and underdeveloped in the last book in Once Upon a Broken Heart. And Apollo was really just set up to be a pretty awful guy. I know that Jax kind of had a transition of being an anti-hero to a hero, going from Caraval to Once Upon a Broken Heart, but I honestly don't feel like Apollo has any of the charm that Jax has, so I really don't know how he's going to fare as a main male lead. Anyway, those are my thoughts for the next Stephanie Garber book. And that is my full list of my anticipated reads for the first half of 2024. I'll definitely do another one of these videos halfway through 2024, talking about some more of the releases that are going to be coming out in the second half of 2024. But these are just some of the ones I'm going to be looking forward to in the first half of the new year. And that is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys, as always, so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, consider leaving a comment, liking, or subscribing if you aren't already. It's especially helpful for a small channel like mine with any of the interactions that you do to push me into the algorithm. But that is going to be it from me today. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!